Matthew chapter 6 and verse 5. And when thou prayest, thou shalt not be as the hypocrites are, for they love to pray standing in the synagogues and in the corners of the streets, that they may be seen of men. Verily I say unto you, they have their reward. But thou, when thou prayest, enter into thy closet, and when thou hast shut thy door, pray to thy Father which is in secret, and thy Father which seeth in secret shall reward thee openly. But when ye pray, use not vain repetitions as the heathen do, for they that think that they should be heard for their much speaking. I want to give all honor and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Hakodash. Double honors to the elders and fathers of Great Millstone, and peace and salutations to the elect of the nation of Israel, starting up with the 144,000, which would be the ruling governing body in the kingdom of heaven. Also to a lot of the 1/3, the large multitude of believers, which will be men, women, and children that will be saved here in America. 2/3 of our people will be destroyed, right? You have the rebels that are scattered abroad in different countries that will be destroyed. You also have the elect that scattered abroad in different countries that will be saved, of who the world willingly and ignorantly calls black, Hispanic, Native American, Puerto Rican, Dominican, Jamaican, Haitian, Guatemala, the Panamanians, Cubans, right? We are the Israelites, contrary to what the world wants to believe. I'm your brother YASHAMIAHLA, coming back at y'all with a quick lesson from End Time Headlines. As y'all can see, it says Quebec, yeah, that's how you say it, Quebec, Slovakia, to ban public prayer and sweeping new secularism law, right? And I brought out that scripture in Matthew chapter 6 because you ain't supposed to be praying and out in public in front of people, but you have a lot of the people that do that, right? And you even got some jakes that do stuff like that too, but they learned it from you heathen. Well, that's why that scripture says that, right? You're supposed to pray in secret. You're supposed to go in an enclosed space where there's nobody watching you, nobody can see you, and pray. It's not that you're scared. It's not that you're being a punk or, you know, you're trying to hide. You know, it's between you and YASHAMIAHLA, man. If you were Israelites, that is, right? These heathen, they don't know any better. The law was not given unto them, so that's why they do these certain things, right? They probably don't think that they're trying to be seen to men, but they are, because why else are you doing it? You know, a lot of these public prayers, they keep saying the same thing. Y'all, if you ever heard one of them what do you call it, them prayers where they I don't know if brothers ever came across those channels where they doing those prayers and they in like the what do you call it, the I can't think of what it's called, the Muslims temples and stuff. There's a specific name for it. I can't think of it right now, it slipped my mind, but you know, when you see them doing them prayers and stuff, they saying the same thing over and over. You're supposed to make your request to the Lord short and sweet and simple, right? That's what you're supposed to do, not say the same thing over and over. All right, but these heathens, like I said, they don't know any better, right? Let's get a classic scripture, Psalms 147, right? In verse 19. It says, He showeth his word unto Jacob, and his statutes unto his judgments unto Israel. He hath not dealt so with any nation. And it says, as for his judgments, they have not known them, praise you the Lord. So these heathen, these other nations, they don't know what the Lord requires. They don't know what the Lord wants in the earth. They don't know what the standards are for the Lord, right? That's why they need to be, you know, they need to be judged, and they need to be taught. They're going to be taught and forced to keep the commandments in the kingdom, you know. But and then before that, you know, hey, they're going to be put in the chains. But, you know, this proves that, you know, this is actually a good thing, because you're not doing the right thing. And they praising the false god anyway, you know. So you're doing it in vain, you know. The Lord is not dealing with no other gods, right? Let me get matter of fact, let me stay in that same book, Psalms 96 and 5. Psalms 96:5, it says, For all the gods of the nations are idols, but the Lord made the heavens. Right? You see? So all these other religions, all these other beliefs that are outside of Yahweh YASHAMIAHLA, the Most High and His Son, they're vain. Right? Regardless of what you think you worshiping, right? If it sounds good, hey, if it's not this 100% truth, if it's not coming out of these scriptures, right, it's false, right? So, you know, this is actually a good thing that they banned you from doing it. You know, it's you're not even considerate of other people when you doing that. It's like you damn near, yeah. I mean, you ain't like grabbing somebody and you force them to pray with you, but the fact that people have to hear you saying what you saying, you know, in public, then nobody should have to hear that, right? You know, and you can't say it's the same thing as us teaching. I mean, we teaching, you know, but you know, I'll say we follow GMS, you know, my camp, you know, our camp, me and the brothers camp, you know, we not following men that be telling everybody to come here like these other camps. These other camps out here, they might tell these heathen out here to come here, you know, and read them a scripture. We ain't trying to get their attention. You know, if the Lord wants your attention, He's gonna send you, you know, to the prophet's way. That's what's gonna happen. You know, so we not out here trying to get attention. They doing that for attention. You know, and you can't convince me otherwise. You know, why do you have to pray in front of people, man? You know. You don't gotta do that. There's no valid explanation of why you praying outside in front of people, right? And if you saying, "Oh, the Lord's gonna lead them," He don't need you to go outside in front of people to do it. You know, He's gonna lead them to wherever He wants to lead them. You know. This is let me get Proverbs 20 and 24. It says, "Man's goings are the Lord. How can a man understand his own way?" You see that? So it ain't up to you, right? Regardless if it's, you know, if it's a false religion, but like I said, the Lord wants another heathen to be with you, you know, or dumbass Jake, then that's what's gonna happen. But you know, you can't force nobody to join that you got going on. But this truth, us being Israelites, and this 100% truth is the only truth. There ain't no multiple truths, right? These heathen, they need somebody to beat their ass and tell them what to do. Because they going off doing that shit, man. Let me see. I just thought about a scripture. Let me see. Matter of fact, let me get this song, or not Sirach 18 and verse 23. It says, "Before thou prayest, prepare thyself, and be not as one that tempteth the Lord." You see? And, you know, you got to know what you're going to say before you're going to say it. You got to already be meditating upon it, right? Or not praying for vain shit, not doing it in vain, right? And you got to be Israelite. You can't just be anybody and pray to Yahweh Shai. They pray to a false god in general, right? And they ain't supposed to be, you know, they shouldn't be out there. So, like, you know, in general either. So they not doing the right thing. This is a good thing that they abandoned this. You know, that's why the Lord separated us, man. You know, let me see. Let's go to Jeremiah 10 in verse 1. In verse 2 it says, "Hear ye the word which the Lord speaketh unto you, O house of Israel. Thus said the Lord, learn not the way of the heathen, and be not dismayed at the signs of heaven, for the heathen are dismayed at them." You see? But the point was to learn not the way of the heathen. Right? The Lord separated us, right, called us out from among them, so we don't have to be like them or follow what they do. Because the Lord never dealt with them. Right? These heathen, they don't have a righteous, you know, correct spirit on them to do the right thing, or serve Yahweh Shai. They serve idols, man. And look what it leads to. You know, it don't lead to anything good. You know, like I said, everything that they do, it's literally in vain. If they claim they worshiping the Lord, they're not worshiping YASHAMIAHLA. That's the only true God there is. Don't no other God exists outside of that. This is let me get Deuteronomy. I want to get his verse. Let me see. Verse 8. It says, when the Most High divided to the nations their inheritance, when he separated the sons of Adam, he set the bounds of the people according to the number of the children of Israel. Right? For the Lord's portion is his people, Jacob is the lot of his inheritance. So the Lord divided the nations, and he set up a nation above every other nation, and that's the Israelites. Right? And they supposed to rule, but right now we're in captivity. The other nations are above us, so they can do things like this. These type of when the real sons of the Most High of Yahweh by AHSHAWAR in power, that shit ain't gonna be going on. You ain't gonna be able to worship your false god that don't exist. You know, and be saying whatever the hell you saying out your damn mouth in another language. That ain't gonna happen in the kingdom, right? You gonna follow the commandments of Yahweh AHSHAWAR, and that's gonna be that. If you don't, then the scriptures say the nation and kingdom that will not serve thee shall perish and be wasted. You know, I'm paraphrasing that in the book of Isaiah chapter 60, right, where it talks about the heathen, you know, serving us. You know, that's what's gonna happen. You know, and like I said, this type of stuff happens all the time where you hear them, you know, praying and they all loud, and you know, and Esau in these different countries and whoever's ruling, they be allowing this. Like I said, but that's because the true God of the Bible was not being pushed on the earth. Wickedness is being pushed on the earth, right? And heathens, you know, are ruling, you know. But this ain't gonna be able to go on in the kingdom, you know, because this had nothing to do with you being sincere or genuine. You're not sincere and genuine when you do stuff like this. So I just wanted to make a quick video on this. I just came across it and I was just like, yep, this is one of the reasons why, you know, we don't do stuff like this, because look at what happens, right? And like I said, you doing it to be seen of men. Hey, the Lord got your ass checked by men, right? And that's what y'all get. It's being banned, right? And, you know, and Esau ain't worry about y'all. Y'all don't got the true God. Y'all niggas that's out here praying to, you know, your false God, or praying to rocks and stuff. Y'all don't got the false God. Esau ain't worried about you. You know, your God don't exist. But it's annoying to other people, though, because they have to hear it when they walk by. You know, they don't gotta listen to that. You know, so, you know, that's good that it's gonna be banned. This ain't a bad thing. So I just want to do a quick video on this, man. You know, I'm gonna close out. I want to give all honor and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahushai, Bahashem, Kaiwadash. Elbow honors to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone. Till next time, I want to say, Baba Shalom.